What's going on, everybody? I hope you all are doing well, but it's time to dive in and talk about the latest chapter for My Hero Academia, chapter 169, and what an overall fun chapter to read. I have been really enjoying these past couple chapters we've had where we've kind of gotten away from the big epic and fight-oriented chapters we had during the ending of the Overhaul arc, and we're now slowly transitioning back into the school setting of UA with all of our students, all of the character interactions I really enjoyed in this chapter. But the setup we got for the next arc we are about to dive into, we are about to get another festival in MHA, and I am super pumped. Here's the thing, this is not going to be another sports festival arc. We're not having all of our characters entering a stadium into a ring and just battling out with one another fisticuff style. We're not getting that. This is not going to be battle oriented. This is going to be a culture festival arc. And after rereading this chapter a couple more times and really thinking about the potential that this culture festival could have for the story moving forward has me very excited, because think back to the sports festival arc. Sure, we had great fights and great moments, but the main thing that the sports festival arc did for the story of My Hero Academia was allow for some of the side characters to move forward and kind of be the main focus of the story. And I'm kind of getting the same feel for this culture festival arc for Ashido and Jiro, and even some of the other side characters that are about to show up in future chapters. And I'm really glad we are about to be diving into the characters of Ashido and Jiro, because in all honesty, it has been a long time coming, and I'm just super glad that we are finally focusing in on more of the side characters. Plus, Koda spoke in this week's latest chapter. It has been a long time since we've gotten to see Koda speak at all in MHA. The last time that I can remember was during the final exam arc when he was teamed up with Jiro going up against Present Mike. That was the last time that I can remember vividly when Koda actually spoke. So bravo to Koda for actually speaking in this week's latest chapter, but then also with a brief cameo coming from Shinzo and Hatsume Mei in this week's latest chapter. And odds are we will be seeing them within the cultural festival in some way in future chapters to come. Anyway, guys, let's just dive in and talk about this week's latest chapter. And what better way to start it off than getting to see Mina Ashido showing everybody her dancing moves. We know she's athletic, but just getting to witness her break dancing and showing everybody up, this was awesome to see. Go Mina, go Mina, go. Go Mina, go Mina, go. Plus, we also get to see Ashido teaching Deku and Aoyama how to two-step, taking these two awkward individuals and trying to teach them to dance to rhythm. Getting to see Deku in his very awkward poses, even Aoyama, that brought a smile to my face. But the one thing I noticed with Aoyama in this week's latest chapter is that he is starting to interact with the students and the class a lot more. So this really goes to show that those past two chapters we had with building upon Aoyama's character and building that friendship with Deku is starting to really pay off, and he's no longer the outcast. He's now starting to interact with Ashido, with Denki, with Mineta, and that was just really cool to see. So bravo to Horikoshi, but also bravo to Aoyama from stepping back from the outskirts and just back into the classroom and interacting with everybody. But then we have Denki looking at Ashido, and he's like, wow, Ashido, you are very interested and passionate about your hobby for dance, but do you know who else has a very interesting hobby? Jiro. So Denki basically took the entire situation revolving around Ashido and put all of that attention onto Jiro. And you can tell that she was very embarrassed to talk about her hobby for music. She had like the blush on her cheeks. She was very nervous, but Denki was just singing her praise. He was basically saying, your room looks like a music store. Can you play all of those instruments? Odds are you're a musical prodigy. But Jiro basically diffused that situation right out of the gate. She basically used her earphone jacks to threaten Denki and is like, do not mention this right now. I do not want to talk about my musical hobby right now. Just returns to her seat, and Denki is just left there looking at Momo and is like, did I say something wrong? And we even have Koda sitting at his desk looking at Jiro with some concern. But this is where we transition into the classroom, where we have Aizawa waste no time in bringing up the topic of the cultural festival, about how this is much different from the sports festival, where the sports festival is sponsored by the hero course, but the culture festival is sponsored by all the other departments, the support, the general education, and the management studies courses. So all of these courses are in charge of the cultural festival, but every single class within UA has to participate within this festival. And this has me very excited because we are going to be having Mei Hatsume and Shinzo making their return into the story. And how can you not be excited with Mei Hatsume, the support girl, back into the story, and then also Shinzo, who the fandom cannot wait to see make his return into the story. I too am very curious what we will be seeing from Shinzo, because odds are he's been doing some secret development behind the scenes, and I just really can't wait to see what he's going to be showing off during this festival arc. So that right there has me super excited, but we even have these small tidbits of Kirishima bringing up the fact it's like, shouldn't we be worried about the villains attacking this festival? But that gets immediately shut down. And then even Sue brings up the topic of Eri in this chapter, and I kind of had a good laugh about that because I kind of seen Horikoshi kind of putting the fandom's question in there, because I think many people are very curious about what is going on with Eri, but I love how Aizawa is just basically like, no, we're moving aside, we're not even talking about that right now, so let's move on and talk about the cultural festival. So I got a good laugh just seeing the misdirect, just taking that question of Eri and just moving along. So Aizawa sensei gets into his sleeping bag and he leaves the delegation to Ida and Momo to basically siphon in all of the suggestions from every student and try to pick the one that everybody can agree on. And this led into some funny suggestions by the characters. And some of them I was kind of expecting just based on their personalities and just how we know these characters, but still, they were absolutely funny. A lot to do with food, but some of them like Kaminari and Mineta had me laughing. I wrote them down. I'll go through them really quickly, but let's start off with talking about Kaminari's, where he mentioned the maid cafe. I have one question about this. I love the fact that we get to see all the female characters dressed in maid outfits, but where was Jiro with all of the female students? We had Toru in there, the invisible girl, and every other female student, but Jiro was not in there. I have concerns about that, Kaminari, but as we move forward, Mineta's like, Kaminari, that's too tame. We need a titty bar. And Sue comes in clutch, just stringing him up with some rope, and is like, wow, is there even weight to him? I love the fact that whenever he mentions something perverted, he just immediately gets shut down by Sue. That was honestly just like the funniest moment in this week's latest chapter. And as we go through the list, Ochiko mentions a mochi shop, Kirishima arm wrestling, Toru a Bikuri house, I don't really know how to pronounce that or even what it is, Sato a crepe house, Ashido dancing, of course, Koda a petting zoo, very fitting for Koda, Tokoyami a banquet of darkness, Aoyama a glitter show, and Jiro a short play, with Denki looking at her very suspiciously like, why'd you mention that? Wouldn't you do music? So I really do like those, but once we get the chalkboard up and we get to see all of the suggestions, we all know who mentioned Murderfest, aka the Death March. That was obviously Bakugo. I read that, I was like, that's Bakugo. There's no denying it. That right there is Bakugo. That also gave me a good laugh as well. So Class 1A cannot come to an agreement on what they want to do during the festival, and Aizawa basically tells them, you guys have till tomorrow to agree upon an idea. But if you guys do not agree on anything, then what you guys will do during the festival are public lectures. So this kind of made everyone very, very nervous because they do not want to do public lectures in front of everyone at the festival. So they all go back to their dorms and they try to think of something that they all can agree on to do for the festival. Ida is looking on his computer on YouTube for some inspiration and for some hints. And this got very, very meta, because if you have been on YouTube, obviously, this right here of just seeing the dialogue bubble where it says, if you enjoyed our content, please subscribe now. I was like, wow, that is a meta joke right there. I really, really enjoyed that, because that piece of dialogue can sum up all of YouTube right there. But eventually, all of the students end up agreeing upon what they want to do for the festival. But the one character that brought up the idea is like the person you would least expect to talk about a concert, party with music, anything along those lines, and that was Todoroki. But I love the inner monologue coming from Mina, where she's basically looking at Todoroki, it's like, wow, what an unexpected supporter. And what's kind of funny about this is that Todoroki's experience during his license training course with the kids is kind of what's inspired him to bring about this suggestion to everybody. And we have another really funny moment coming from Sato when he's thinking about Bakugo and Todoroki having a dance party at the training course session, where like Bakugo is basically doing like disco moves. That right there is a very funny thought bubble moment. I cannot picture Bakugo doing that at all, but it really brought a smile to my face. But basically everyone decides, yes, we're going to be doing a dance party or a dance concert, and Ashido's like, well, I can teach you guys all to dance. I taught Aoyama how to two-step in one day. I can teach all of you guys how to dance. So we have Ashido stepping to the forefront to basically provide dance moves for everybody, but then Mineta's like, wait, we need music, we need rhythm, we need some really good music to dance to, and everybody looks to Jiro, and Jiro's very embarrassed, she's very nervous about this, but thanks to the encouragement from Denki and Koda and everybody else there, she ends up agreeing to it, where she basically says, it wouldn't be very rock and roll of me, right, to deny this. So I'm loving the fact that we're having Ashido and Jiro now stepping to the forefront. Ashido will provide the dance moves, Jiro will provide the music. We are going to be having a full-on concert with dancing and music. This has me pretty excited to see what this festival is going to offer, not only for Class 1A, but for Class 1B, the general studies, the support and management. There's going to be a lot of interesting things coming with this culture festival, but what I'm even more excited about is when the anime finally catches up and adapts these chapters, because once you add in the animation, the movement, the music, this is going to look pretty spectacular once the anime finally gets around to adapting this. So that right there, guys, is basically where chapter 169 ends. The only thing that's really left to talk about and kind of speculate on is who that mysterious figure, who that mysterious person was that popped up on YouTube on Ida's laptop. Odds are this is going to be a very significant person, because why would Horikoshi tease this person? Is this a villain? Probably not, but it's still a good guess. My best bet is that this is most likely a pro hero we haven't seen yet. Maybe it's the number 3 pro hero that's kind of been a mystery throughout MHA so far, but right now it's anyone's guess on who this person might be. So definitely leave your theories and speculations down in the comments below. It's going to be it for this review, guys. I really enjoyed this chapter. It was a lot of fun, really enjoyable, but it has me hyped for all of the side character development we are going to be getting on the characters that haven't really had a moment to shine yet within the series. And I'm really glad Horikoshi is really doing this within the story right now. And I'm just really looking forward to it. So definitely leave your thoughts down in the comments below, guys, on what you thought on this week's latest chapter. And if you guys want to talk about My Hero Academia outside of YouTube, feel free to follow me on Twitter, guys. A link in the description for my Twitter account can be found down there. I have a lot of fun tweeting about MHA. It's a lot of fun, and I would love to talk with you guys about it. This is just an overall fun series, and I would love to hear your overall thoughts. Anything funny, anything serious, any theories, just go to Twitter and you guys can talk with me there. So until next week, when we have chapter 170 of My Hero Academia, I'll talk with you guys then. And remember, guys, Plus Ultra.